You're listening to the #1 podcast for oil and gas professionals. What's up? Michael Fry, President and CEO of Deepwater Subsea. I'm here with Dallas Bozeman.
Hey, good morning.
What's happening, D? And we have a special guest, Gary Bartels with Oath Inc. How are you, Gary?
I'm doing wonderful, man. Thanks for having me again.
It's good to have you back. Dallas and I were talking earlier. It's been about 11 months since the last time we spent some time together. A lot has changed.
Yeah, it really has. I think this time last year when you guys brought me in, I was just getting out of the oil and gas industry and really following my calling with Oath. And I'm anxious to talk about how the last 11 months have transpired. It's been life-changing.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about it. I mean, we follow you on Facebook and LinkedIn, and as a sponsor of some of the events, it's something that we take great pride in, being former military guys, Dallas and myself. And, I think the things that you guys do for veterans is very special. And we want to give you this opportunity for us to learn a little bit more, as well as the people who partake in our podcast and the stuff that we do. So tell us a little bit about the last month. Tell us about what you guys got going on. I know you have a big event coming up. Something we were just talking about offline, how it's truly the dedication of what you put into it, I think is second to none, because there's not a lot of people who would do what you do. So I'll give it to you and Dallas, and let's kind of visit on it.
Yeah. Well, when you look at the last 11 months, I explained to people that you really have to look at it in two terms. You have to look at it both from a professional realm and then in a personal realm. I was raised in oil and gas. My dad worked in oil and gas on the rigs, roustabout. My uncle did the same. So I always knew that I was going to end up in oil and gas, just didn't know in what capacity. So when I got in with Transocean and worked with you and then went to Vantage and Falcon, I loved the oil and gas industry. It was in my blood. But got laid off twice, man, in 14 months. You know the story. And it was at that time that the board of directors for Oath approached me. And we already had it written in our business plan that at month 36, we were going to find somebody to run this thing because it was growing exponentially. And I just happened to get laid off at month 29. So the board of directors kind of shifted the timeline to the left a little bit. And as you can imagine, it weighed heavy on me, not only getting out of the oil and gas industry, something that I absolutely loved, but going to work for a nonprofit and actually getting paid for doing something that I felt, let's be quite honest, that I shouldn't be getting paid for. So eventually, after we played some tennis with offers, every offer they made me, I thought was too high, and I turned it down. And finally, there was some pretty pointed conversations between me and the board of directors about, if you don't do this, we'll find somebody that will. But anybody that goes to work, or this should happen, anybody that goes to work for a nonprofit is going to tell you that it's going to be a much less salary than what you saw in your previous job. And it took some soul searching, man. My wife and I had to sit down, and we didn't have to adjust our budget. We had to completely trash our budget and create another one to make it work for our family based on what we were now getting paid. It was tough. It's been very tough. It took us about 6 months to actually get to a point where we weren't drawing money from our savings every month. A lot of tears, a lot of prayer, canceled a lot of vacations, canceled some hunting trips, canceled some family stuff that we had planned. But at the end of the day, my wife and I made a solid resolve that we would cancel our stuff. We would sacrifice so as not to sacrifice for our children. So it's been good, man. Our kids are still going to the football camps and the cheerleading camps. Gary doesn't go on as many hunting trips, and Regina doesn't get her nails done as much. The little stuff that we've really sacrificed. But for the most part, the family is still intact. We're absolutely blessed by God to be doing what we're doing, and He's taking care of us. Thank God we didn't have to move. We're still living in the same house and still living in the same quality of life, minus a few of those crazy things that I could have probably done away with to begin with. So from that point, shifting over from oil and gas into the nonprofit world has been really eye-opening. But as you guys can attest to, anytime you follow God's calling in something that you really don't understand from the immediate vantage point, there's a little bit of doubt. And it really tests your faith, and it gets you to where you really need to be. And I think we're stronger than we've ever been. I mean, gosh, man, this time last year, I want to say we had maybe 100 registered veterans in the Oath, Texas chapter. And as of this morning, we got 149.
Wow.
So We're going very strong. We've got some phenomenal events coming up, both from an operational standpoint and a fundraising standpoint. You guys mentioned what we're doing at the end of May. Last year, much to my wife's dismay, I went solo on this walk, and I did 151 miles last year. And the premise behind this walk is I dubbed it Operation 602. 602 veterans from Texas have been killed in support of Iraq and Afghanistan. So what I did last year is I decided to walk the equivalent of one lap around a track for each of them. Started here in Houston, walked to my hometown, down Interstate 10, down Highway 90, walked to my hometown. The high school was about 75, 80 miles. And then the last 75 miles, I set up a sign-up roster web sheet so people from my hometown could sign up to walk in hour increments with me. So the last 2 days, I walked with guys I went to high school with. I walked with my old football coach. I walked with people that have known me since I was 3 years old, and did it in 4 days, walked 18 hours a day, took 6 hours of downtime, 4 days straight. Feet got a little tore up because of the weather, but that's okay. Made the heart stronger. And we made it. We raised probably close to $25,000 last year just off the walk and the little Memorial Day bash we had there at the end. So we're going to take that money, and this year we're going to start up a scholarship fund and going to give it to some kids at some of the high schools that are either going into the military or, exemplify the traits that we want in honor of the fallen guys that the scholarship's going to be named for. We've got to come up with the criteria. So this year we're going to change up the walk a little bit. Unfortunately, it's now dubbed Operation 605 since last year we lost 3 more Texans in the war on terror. So the distance now is going to be 151 and a half. And I'm still going to try to walk as much of it as I can, but this year we're going to have guys that walk with me. Lyle Jackson, who is the general manager of Oath, Texas, is going to walk with me. Brad French, who is the Oath chaplain, is going to walk with me. Dallas is going to walk with. He's the veteran care director. Then you got Josh Courtney, who I think you know. He's the operations director for Oath, so he's going to try to walk with me a little bit. But yeah, man, it's my token saying is if you really want to honor someone's memory, strap on a little bit of pain. I think there's no better way to honor someone than to go through some pain and shed some tears and pray and actually feel it in your body. It's something that really moved me last year, man. I don't know how else to put it. It was extremely painful. My feet were torn up, but it's one of the best things I've ever done in my life, man. I'll do it all over again every year if my body allows. I'll
tell you what's amazing. We were talking about this offline is, I had to go to Walmart this morning and I probably walked, I don't know, maybe 100 yards and torn labrum in my hip, 7 knee surgeries. I mean, and being, not making excuses, being ass stuck in chair all day where I should be in the gym working out. The muscles are tight, but I thought about Gary and his event because I'm walking 100 yards going, man, my ass is tired and my hip hurts, and Gary's walking 150 miles, in memory of others. And that just talks about the individual himself. I mean, something that really tells you a lot about Gary is here's Oath offering him a position and he's saying, you're paying me too much, where a lot of people in a nonprofit would have been, I want as much as possible. That just speaks of your character and how you want the longevity of Oath to be what it is. I mean, we've talked about this before, the difference between what Oath is compared to, we'll call it, other nonprofit organizations, to where the senior members are out taking their own personal trips and out doing their own things. And Oath is all about the individuals and giving back to those who sacrifice more than anybody else ever has. And that to me is why we love sponsoring it, why we love having Gary as part of the family and as a friend. And, we don't hesitate when there's an opportunity to support you guys, because we know what you're doing is unlike any other organization, in my opinion, for fallen veterans.
Yeah. So Gary, last year you took off from Houston and you kind of went back to your roots. You went to Kuntz and finished up there at the high school track. So what's the route this year? Where are you headed to?
What we're going to do this year is we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to do it in conjunction with the event we're having on June 3rd in Lukenbach. It's our first annual surf and turf, which is going to be a full day music festival coupled with a wild game cook-off competition, coupled with another cook-off crawfish boil. So we're going to have 5 or 6 artists performing throughout the day. You know, we're going to have Chad Stone performing, Camille Sanders Band, Phil Hamilton Band, Shotgun Rider, Greg Showman in the Back Creek Band. And then finally at night, you know, we'll have Corey Morrow closing it out. And the cook-off competition for wild game is we're going to have 2,000 pounds of wild game that we're going to cook. And Josh Courtney is running with that, with the categories and stuff. This is really Josh's event. He came up with this idea and he sourced it and he's done it. And I tell you what, he's done a phenomenal job with it. I mean, Josh has the knack of thinking about stuff outside the box and coming up with some fantastic events. So when you guys attend this surf and turf, I'm telling you right now, do not come up and shake my hand and thank me for a wonderful event, because I've done nothing with this event. You need to get with Josh Courtney, because he is the brainchild behind all of this. It's a wonderful idea. It's all coming together, and he has done the legwork on all of it. And crawfish boil, you're going to have 2,000 pounds of crawfish, and we're going to boil them up and have a competition there. So we're going to start on Memorial Day, May the 29th, just off of Interstate 10, where it hits 71. And we're going to walk all the way up to the cemetery in Austin.
Wow.
And we're going to lay a wreath. We're going to have a wreath laying ceremony there. And should be a pretty somber, moving event. You know, there's obviously a lot of Texans that we're representing on this walk are buried in that cemetery. So we're going to take our time and walk through and visit a few of them, and hopefully their families will be there and, you know, shed some tears, get some more motivation. Then we're going to bust a dog leg west and head towards Lukenbach, and we'll finish up around noontime on June the 3rd, which is the day of the event. So it's going to be great, man. I'm looking forward to it. As I tell people, I'm looking forward to walking 151 and a half miles, and they're like, "You're insane." I was like, "No. You got to look at why you're doing this stuff. You got to look at why you're doing this stuff. Don't look at the you, look at the us."
That's right. I think there's a lot of people who that's the problem with a lot of, I won't even say organizations, just a lot of people in general. It's about the me instead of what we can do for others. And we kind of joked offline about, you know, Gary has a unique opportunity to be able to do what he loves to do each and every day. Kind of looks a little bit like Grizzly Adams at the moment, but it's, you know, my daughter will go out of her way to help people who she sees in need, whether it's a homeless person or somebody in the corner. If she passes them, she will run to Walmart or, you know, someplace that has, you know, takeout food, and she'll go back and give them water, and just where a lot of other people would spit at them or throw trash at them. It's like, you have to have that in your heart. You can't, I don't think if you walked into a group of people and said, all right, 20 of you are going to go out and help, you know, do a charity. Mm-hmm. You might be lucky if you get one in the 20 that are like truly for that, you know, with the right, you know, intent versus,
I agree.
Oh, I'm doing it because I've been told to, or what you do and what Regina does and the whole organization, I think is it's more than commendable. I mean, it's an honor to watch it. And, you know, and I joke with Dallas how I wish we had more time. I'm not joking, but I tell Dallas, I wish we had more time to do things like that. Mm-hmm. But even the hunt, I mean, tell a little bit about, I mean, you guys have been on TV here recently. I know Dallas was a part of it. Mm-hmm. Tell a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, so we were blessed last year. This is something else that transpired over the last 11 months. You know, Rob Evans, who owns the Ultimate Hunt TV show, it airs on the Sportsman's Channel. Little story about Rob and the show. He did that show for a number of years in support of cancer research. And finally, through the hard work of the show and Rob, they fully funded the Cancer Research Center. So Rob was seriously considering shutting the show down. And he decided he wanted to go a different avenue of approach and do something that supported veterans. So he got in touch with me, and he kind of kept it close to his cuff that that's what his angle was. But he kind of felt me out, and he kind of felt Oath out, and he asked some pretty pointed questions about how Oath was ran and how our books were kept and things of that nature. And then finally, when the dust settled, he said, "Man, I like doing my show." He's like, "I want to not shut my show down, but I want to start gearing it in support of Oath." We worked through all the fine details, and I have to tell you, man, I absolutely humbled and speechless when he came to me. Out of all the nonprofits out there that help veterans, he's decided to partner with Oath. Just, he's a phenomenal individual, and you know, to hear him tell it about how we're going to help Oath, I mean, he's got the passion for it, obviously. So yeah, we started filming. We were going to be airing in 2017, but we've actually bumped it to 2018 for a myriad of reasons, good reasons. So we filmed a lot of different hunts. We've taken some guys up to freaking North Dakota to do what's called spearhouse fishing. It's like ice fishing, but you cut a hole and you actually spear the northern pike when they come by.
Wow.
Yeah, we took a veteran up there to do that. We've done duck hunting, goose hunting with veterans. We've obviously done the whitetail hunts and the axis hunts. And one of the new programs we cranked out at Oath is the Battle Buddy program, which Dallas knows all about. We did our first hunt with the Battle Buddy program out at Broken Spur Ranch. And we took a young man named Jace, who was 9 years old. His dad lost his life in Afghanistan. So what we do is we take Jace, the son, in this instance, the son of a fallen hero, and we pair Jace up with a member of his dad's squad.
Wow.
So, sure, they're probably going to kill a big animal or catch a big fish, but what was really moving for us is when they were sitting in the deer stand and Jace was asking James, what was my dad like? Because he was 2 years old when his dad died. What was my dad like? What did my dad like to eat in the chow hall? What kind of jokes did you play on my dad? So that was a wildly successful trip, and we filmed it. We're going to put it on TV, and we're going to tell his dad's story about how big of a hero he was. And we've got another one of those hunts coming up at the end of April. We're taking the son of Nicholas Null, who was a Navy SEAL, member of SEAL Team 6, and a member of his SEAL Team 6 brotherhood, Chris Swank. So it's going to be Nicholas's son and a member of his dad's SEAL team are going to go out. And it's just phenomenal, man. I think this is one of the best programs that we've come up with, because you see these two individuals get together and, you're military, and if anything happens to any of your brothers, you got that family's back.
That's right.
And I've seen that the last hunt. I saw that with Jace and James, and now I'm sure we're going to see it again with Chris, and Hunter is the son's name. But they put the money where the mouth is. James has a wonderful relationship with Anthony's wife and Jace, and these hunts, the animals again are secondary, but to see them sit and talk about his dad and the sacrifice that was made, and how if anything happens, I'm here for your family, right? James still gets together with Jace's and his mom, and they still do dinners and stuff, just like they did when they were on the team in Afghanistan. When they'd come home, they'd all get together.
I'm so glad we're not on video, because my eyes are tearing up, just because it's like, I couldn't imagine, or I'll do my best here, I couldn't imagine hearing those conversations, like what's my dad like, because I never knew him.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
tough. There were a couple of times where, when we're doing the show a little bit differently, there's no hosts on the show. When we start the show off, Rob and I, or Rob or I, sit and we do about a 60-second intro. Hey everybody, welcome to the Ultimate Hunt. This week we got a really great hero for you. We're going to display, it's, so-and-so. And we give his story a little bit, and then that's it. The rest of the time, the cameraman's focused on the veteran. He's talking directly with the veteran. So it's not going to be a show where you see Gary's ugly face on TV 90% of the time. So when we did the hunt with Jace and James, the camera was on them majority of the time. And I'm not going to lie to you, man. I wear my emotions.
It's a tearjerker.
I wear my emotions on my sleeve. And there were a couple times where I had to step away, because Jace was just an absolutely phenomenal little kid. His mom, he ended up shooting a nice black buck, and his mom said he sleeps with the bullet casing. He's just a phenomenal kid. He shoots like his daddy. His daddy was a sniper on an SF team, and we brought him a brand new, James and the guys from his dad's team bought him a brand new 243, and within 5 rounds at 100 yards, he had it in a baseball size grouping pattern. And I remember looking at him and said, yeah, you got a little bit of your daddy in you. And just a really cool kid, man. But these, I don't know how else to say it, man. They're tearjerker episodes, and we didn't do it for publicity or glamour. I really just wanted to display how big of a hero these guys are and create that bond between someone from his squad and that kiddo.
And I think that's what gets missed, is the family, the children of the fallen heroes. Obviously you're recognizing and you're celebrating their lives, during the events, but to do this type of event, I've never seen anything like it. shifting gears here real quick so I don't have to break out the tissues. So I'll let Dallas tell this one because Dallas was at the right place at the right time because I got stuck on another project. Unfortunately, an event that I was supposed to go on as well, Dallas got the opportunity to go. Tell me about the event that you went on, Dallas, and how special that was to be with someone who, correct me if I'm wrong, 3 wars this person was a part of.
Yeah. So we got to, Deepwater Subsea got to sponsor this elk hunt for Mr. Russ, who is a veteran of World War II, Korea and Vietnam. That's right. Yes, yeah. And man, what a phenomenal guy. We got to hear his stories and, talking about, being on the boat, serving, all over and in the China Sea and all over the place, and how he experienced the war and coming back, and just one, a great storyteller, but such a good life story as well. And to see someone at his age, well into his 90s, and just incredible, still a lot of life in him, a huge sense of humor. He kept us laughing the whole time. He's just still full of life at that age. But also to hear his backstory and the way he grew up. When he came into the service, he didn't even have a birth certificate because of the way he grew up. He didn't even know how old he was really because they basically went off of his brother, right?
Yeah, they used his brother's birth certificate, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
When we first started doing this, I remember we were talking to his landlord / really good friend, Landis, who was our age. And Landis approached us about the hunt. And I remember specifically asking, well, how old is Mr. Russ? He's like, we don't know. We just know he's old.
He's been around for a while.
He's been around a long time. So,
yeah, I remember he said that whenever he came into the service that he didn't have a birth certificate, but they required him to have one. So what they did is his brother had a birth certificate, and he knew that he was about 3 years apart from his brother. Yeah. So they wrote him a new birth certificate with a 3-year difference than his brother. So, it's just the way he grew up in poverty to the life he lived and how he came out. This is, we talk about the VA now and, veterans benefits and our veterans getting what they deserved, and they need this treatment, they need all these things. This is a man who's in his 90s, and he didn't start receiving any benefits until a few years ago, right?
Yeah. The thing with, you touched on a good topic there. The thing about the VA, and I know there are some good VA offices out there, but on the other side of the coin, there's some bad ones out there. And the thing that I don't necessarily like about the VA is, in my mind, it's so hard to figure out what you as a veteran are entitled to.
That's right.
I don't want to open this can of worms, but that's what Mr. Russ was telling us. He's like, they were telling me all these benefits that I could have been claiming for the last 30 years, and I didn't even have any idea. Nobody had ever told me. I was never sat down. I was never told, hey, you need to do this,
That's
this,
right.
this.
If you don't have an advocate helping you, then you're kind of lost.
It's almost, and I kind of cringe to say this, but it's almost like as a measure to have cost savings, we kind of keep that stuff close to our cuff. And if they discover it and they find out about it, okay, we'll support you. But, I hate to say that, but from the outside looking in, sometimes we as veterans think that's what it's like. Well, dadgum, man, why didn't you guys tell me that I could have been claiming this for the last 10 years? I would have helped my children. Well, we thought you knew.
So 30 wars, 30 years. You think about it. He's in his 90s.
Yeah.
Three wars. If you think of the conflicts of what he must have seen, you're talking major events in history, right? World War II, Korea, Vietnam. Those are life stories that probably very few in the world probably have some of the things that he's seen.
Oh yeah. He was telling stories about, basically going through buds before it was buds, to the original frogman schools and the underwater demolition schools and things like that he did. But this is a guy who gave over 30 years of service to the country and then walked away with no expectations. He just went on living his life and retired and did his thing. And then later on, someone came along and said, hey, we think somebody should be doing more for you. Yeah. And, even when Oath approached him about doing a hunt, he was like, well, I just want to go shoot a pig or something. Like he still had this mentality and this heart that he didn't really deserve everything that he was being given, you know? So
he did his duty to his country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
Going back to what you were saying about how some of these other organizations are run, I tried to explain this to my 10-year-old a couple of days ago, and of course, using big words, but Sammy's a bright kid, and I was able to break it down to where he understood it. And it kind of dovetails directly into Mr. Russ's attitude. You're a veteran, Mike. You're a veteran, Dallas. I think all three of us sitting at this table, when we went into service, and a majority of our brothers, when we went into service, we did it for intrinsic stuff. I wanted to serve my country, and then at the end of it, if I get, a pension, if I'm in long enough to get a pension, great. Thank you very much. And there are others out there, unfortunately, that do it for extrinsic. Oh man, I'm gonna join up and I'm gonna do this because at the end of it, I can go claim this on my VA disability. Right. I can get $2,000 a month, and it's these Iraq and Afghanistan veterans. Sometimes, for lack of a better term, brother, sometimes they have a huge sense of entitlement. And I'm one of those guys. I don't have a huge sense of entitlement, of course, but you find guys that for some reason or another. You voluntarily raised your right hand, man. This country, quote unquote, doesn't owe you anything. We owe it everything. But you got guys that play the system. And going right back to Mr. Russ, he had no expectations when he got out. The only expectation he had in his mind was, I just served my country for over 30 years. It's time to smoke a cigar and live the rest of my days.
There you go.
So that was a phenomenal event with you guys.
Yeah, it was amazing.
That wouldn't have happened without you guys.
And I'm sitting in the office going, damn it, Dallas. Seeing all these pictures and stuff. And I'm like, yep, someone's got to keep the lights on.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember we were eating dinner and I looked at Dallas. I was like, man, Mike would really like this steak.
That's right. Yeah. Eating good, enjoying nice weather. Yeah.
Having some war stories. It's always amazing. I mean, so speaking of just history, just real quick, my grandfather was World War II, but I'm actually both of my grandfathers were World War II. My dad was Vietnam. I was Navy. My brother was Army. And it's funny how the culture has shifted. I mean, I was joking with my boys a couple of weeks ago, and I said, you do realize you guys are very special, right? And they're like, well, yeah, of course, Dad. And I'm like, no, you guys are actually the first two in the family not to join the military. And they kind of stepped back. I said, we were never pushed. It never was, this is a family deal. You will serve. But it's just the change in the culture of how now it's almost anti-military. And yet, if not going into a political discussion, but if something did happen on our lands, then it's like, well, where's our military? Well, we've been cut and got rid of the last 8 years or so many years. And now when the war comes to our side, it's how come you're not protecting us? Well, in order to protect us, you got to have people who are willing to make those sacrifices and volunteer that time. And I just think it's interesting. But so from an Oath standpoint, where would people find out more about, Oath and some of the things you guys got going on if they wanted to be a part of it? Yeah,
check out our website at www.oathinc.org. When you log on to that website, you're going to see some tabs on there. It's got a tab over the surf and turf. If you click on that, I've drafted a page there that has some internal links where you can look at buying tickets for the music festival. You can look at being a sponsor for the event. You can look at registering a wild game cook-off team or a crawfish boil team. We've also got the link on there for our saltwater tournament that we're doing down in Galveston with Frank Avery and the Oath Texas Gulf Coast chapter. Second year we're doing that, and it's the same thing. Created a page there where you can open it up and see everything it has to offer. Scotty Hallman, who is the field officer for Oath Texas Piney Woods, is cranking up a bass tournament up at Lake Sam Rayburn in late September. So I'm currently creating a page for Scotty, so that'll be there too. I mean, we've got a lot of good stuff on that page. Oath gear. We changed our logo, as you guys saw. Little bit 30-second about Oath. When we first started, it was Outdoor Association for Texas Heroes. My mindset was I was going to get a group of Texas veterans, and I was going to take them to all these satellite chapters, Idaho, Indiana, Utah, and do some cool stuff with them there. Well, we took our first group of guys to Utah, and the mission started spreading. People were like, man, we want to get our state's veterans involved in
I was going to ask you about that.
So it kind of dovetailed into, okay, well, let's do that. Let's start chapters in other states, and then we can all intermingle. because we're breaking down 3 silos. Really, we're breaking down the silo between the veterans and society, which we know exists. Then we're breaking down the silos between different generational veterans. I tell you what, you want to hear a good conversation? Get an Iraq, an Afghanistan, a Vietnam, and a Korea War veteran around the same fire. It happened one time before, God rest his soul, Robert Lloyd passed away. He was a Korea War veteran, and we took him on an event, and we had 4 different wars around the campfire talking. So we're breaking down those silos as well. And then, of course, we break down the silos, the veterans from the different states. I mean, man, we took some guys to Utah and Indiana and Idaho, and now they're planning their own, separate of oath, they're planning their own family vacations and stuff together because they hit it off and they've got that like-minded approach. So, yeah, I love Texas, man. I love that flag. Don't get me wrong. But I brought it forward to the board of directors that, hey, we're now a national organization. So as much as I hate to even suggest it, let's remove that Texas flag from the logo and put it with the stars and stripes.
There you go.
So that's what we have now. So on our gear page, it's a little limited. We're going to get some new gear out there just in time for the Surf and Turf and the Memorial Day walk. But yeah, you can look at videos on our webpage of events that we've done, 3 to 4 minute videos we've done over it. It's a really good website. And yeah, we would absolutely love anybody's support. There is no donation too small, man. If you donate $10, I can take that $10 and take a veteran who's having a problem. I can take him to lunch and we can talk about it.
So what other states are you guys in, just real quick?
We're in Utah. We're in Indiana. We're in Idaho. We're in Texas. We have current conversations going on to start an Oath, Alabama chapter. We're in current conversations to start an Oath, Louisiana chapter. And then we've got some stuff on the West Coast that's developing, maybe in Washington State, also in New York. I mean, we've got a lot of irons in the fire trying to start new chapters, but you know as well as I do, man, you don't start a business and then find the leaders.
That's right.
You find that leader and then you focus it around them. You know, when we brought Dallas on, it was we didn't, hey, let's go enroll that veteran care director role and find someone to fit it. Dallas came to us, and then we started talking about what best suits his, and he's got a great skill set, man. You know this. I don't have to tell you. So it's kind of like a tailor-made role.
Sure.
So that's what you got to do. So it's the same way with the chapters. We find a good leader from a specific state, and the conversation evolves into starting a chapter. That's why we're kind of all over the map. And I like it that way. I like it sporadic, and I like it planned.
So if someone hears this out there, I know I said quick, and I'm never one to be very quick, but if someone's listening to this and they're in Idaho, if they're in Michigan, and they're like, you know what, I got a group of guys, I think I would be great as a potential leader for this organization. I'm interested in it. Just go to your site and drop your email.
Yeah, you know, you can actually email me directly. My email address is gary@oathinc.org. That's OATHINC.org. Shoot me an email. I get them all day, and it might take me a little while to get back to you, but I usually try to. One thing I learned from Stephen Newman, I generally try to answer all my emails same day. It's tough sometimes, but I think people deserve that. But yeah, and on another note, something we've changed a little bit is if we don't have an operational chapter in that state, that doesn't mean that you can't register. You can still register, because what that does is that allows us to actually see which states are giving us the most focus.
That's right.
You know, we've got a couple that are registered from Virginia. We've got a couple that are registered from Louisiana. So it's just because we don't have an operational chapter there doesn't mean that you can't register. If we're ever over in that area doing a hunt with like Oath Texas guys, we take to Louisiana, then we can ping those Louisiana guys, say, hey, come join us.
I think that tells you a lot about the military too, because when you talk about the places you are, that's not Navy bases, it's not Army bases, it's Indiana, it's, you know, you would think a Virginia, Texas, California, you know, you got your
big hubs.
That's right. But you know what, at the end of the day, these guys go back to their families and they go back to their roots, and
they do.
That's where they need that help at.
Yeah, that's right, man. It's there's a lot of states that we're trying to break into, and it's going to happen in God's time. I don't push anything with Oath, man. You know that about me. We've worked together for years. I don't try to put round pegs into square holes. If God wants us to go there, then that's where it'll go in his own due time. So it's working out marvelously, man.
No, good. Well, I appreciate you coming in. I mean, it's, I think it's exciting. It's been fun to be able to sit on the sidelines and watch it grow. I mean, because I remember back in the beginning and I was like, hey, I'm going to create this nonprofit. And you were trying to work and do all of it at once. And then tough. It's like now the transition based on just life's events have given you the opportunity to truly, I posted something the other day that's like, if you're not doing what you love, then why are you doing it? You know,
Exactly
and I know
right.
that you truly love it, because if you could have seen it here being in the room, I mean, just the passion in Gary's eyes and his face, and just, you know, you truly love what you do for these veterans. And I think that's very special.
Yeah, I do. Dallas will tell you, doing stuff like this for other people, it takes up a lot of your own personal family time. But in my mind, my kids understand why I'm doing it. My wife understands why I'm doing it, because I make no qualms about it, man. Oh, I heartily believe that Oath saved my life. I was in a very bad place when I came back from my second deployment. You know, I never put hands on my wife, but I was very verbally abusive. I threw glasses through the sheetrock. I punched the walls. I was angry at everybody. I threw printers across the room, computers. I mean, my kids were scared of me, man. And it wasn't until, number one, got back to God, and number two, got back out in the outdoors and transpired into Oath. I mean, my wife knows when I go to the deer lease or wherever, I'm coming back on Sunday evening a different guy, because I tune out. I turn that phone off as much as I can, and I pray, I get right, and I come back and I'm recharged, man. So I'm benefiting from the very thing that we brought together. And I think that's where my passion is. I think Oath is my fourth child. God blessed me to put me in a position to do Oath, and I don't take advantage of that, you know?
So before we get off here, the Oath Surf and Turf coming up. I mean, huge venue at Lukenbach.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Amazing. And then you got a headliner like Corey Morrow bringing in 2,000 pounds of meat. I mean, there's a lot of publicity to be had. There's going to be, a crazy amount of people there, not only for the great food, but great, Texas music and just the festival in general. So you've got some corporate sponsorships still available. What do some of those look like?
You know, the corporate sponsorships, Josh Courtney is actually in Pennsylvania right now doing a rig inspection. And we've got a target list for companies that we want to go after for sponsorships, but none of that has come to fruition because Josh is still over in Pennsylvania. So everything is still open now. You know, we've got, we've got the Medal of Honor sponsorship. If you look at that, I want to say it's $20,000, but what you get is just phenomenal. This is a company-based sponsorship package where if you get this sponsorship, we're going to get a huge tent and set it up where you can bring your company people or your customers in and show them a good time. And that goes all the way down from Medal of Honor to Silver Star to Legion of Merit to Bronze Star to Purple Heart. So they're all kind of tailored, and of course they're all smaller as you go all the way down. We got beverage station sponsors. We got t-shirt sponsor, hat sponsor. I mean, we really pulled out the stops on the sponsorship packages, because one of the things that we were hearing from the general public is, hey, Joe Schmo over here's got a lot of money to sponsor for his company, but we're just a family. What can we do to sponsor? So our sponsorship packages for the surf and turf go from $20,000 all the way down to $100,000. So we've got something for everyone. And we do that for most all of our events. And Lukenbach, let me just tell you, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the last 2 or 3 times that Corey Morrow has played Lukenbach, he sold it out. And Josh picked a perfect weekend because in Fredericksburg, they're also having the Peach Festival. So when we started planning this thing together with
the opportunity for a lot of people.
Oh, brother, when we started planning with the people of Lukenbach, they said you can expect to see between 3,000 and 5,000 people.
Wow.
So it's going to be a huge undertaking, and it's going to be, like you said, huge visibility, an all-day event. So we're expecting good things out of it. And this is the first concert that we're actually doing. We're cranking up an Oath concert series. We're in discussions right now with Madison Rising to do a concert. Josh has started some conversation with Jeremy Camp to do a concert and a few others. So we'll probably end up doing one of these concert series about once every quarter, just because number one, it's fun. Number two, it gets the awareness out, So we're excited about it, man.
That's awesome. I mean, it's hard to beat. You get good food, live music, VIP tickets for your sponsorships, and in some cases, even a chance to meet the artists themselves. So.
Yeah, some of the packages have the meet and greet package attached to it. So if you get that package, you actually get to meet, Corey Morrow or Chad Stone or Camille Sanders, and you bring your guitar or your album or your CD or whatever, and they'll autograph it for you. I mean, it's going to be a good event, man. I'm excited about it. We're going to be a little bit tired, you and I, but we'll still be there. I remember last year at the Memorial Day Bash, it was amazing to me how much my stomach shrunk over 4 days of walking. I couldn't even finish one hamburger.
Wow.
So I'm looking forward to that again. Not eating so much, but when you do something like that and then you go to the event, the music event, you're just able to sit. I was the most relaxed I think I'd ever been in a long time when I was just sitting in that chair listening to Chad Stone play last year, and my feet were swollen and wrapped up. My wife was yelling at me because I walked so far, and I was in a happy place, man.
Yeah.
My body was absolutely drained, but I had no cares. Somebody would come to me like, "Hey, we're out of this over here," and I'm like, handle it for me, please.
That's right.
I'm in a great
You
spot.
do realize I just walked 150 miles, right? You can walk 50 feet and go take care of it.
Yeah. So, no, it's going to be a great event, and I hope we see everybody out there. Please log on to the website and check it out and get your tickets. The tickets are really going fast, actually, so get your tickets as soon as you can. And if you know of any company or business or small group or even person that would like to sponsor, one of those from $20,000 to $100, please have them check it out, because that's wide open. We haven't collected any sponsors yet, so we would love to have you on board.
No, it's good. Well, I appreciate it, Dallas, as always. It's good to be back on the mic again after a hiatus of being busy.
Always good.
So
always.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, man.
I always joke with Dallas, is like, I hate him because he's got that radio voice.
Yeah.
So the TV face and the radio voice, where you and I will just
Captain
stick.
America over
That's right.
here.
That's right. All he needs is a little breastplate and he'll be good to go. So good. Well, Gary, we appreciate it. And, we should do this more often.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. It goes without saying, Mike, from the get-go, Deepwater Subsea has been right there beside Oath. And I'm an infantry guy, man, and it's very hard to leave me speechless, but your amount of support has always been very humbling to me.
You guys
I appreciate that. From you and I have been friends since the Transocean days,
Yep.
working on investigations together, and you're a veteran and you see the need for this, and you see, I wish I could tell you how many emails and texts I've got from guys that have just flat out told me, I was ready to start a 9mm, but you took me fishing and talked to me, and I was around some brothers and it saved my life.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas talks about it all the time. I mean, I think that's the thing that gets missed a lot as well, as you had mentioned it. It's like, what are those demons that are going on that nobody knows about? And that's why I think it's important when it comes to veteran support and the things that both of you guys do, because I know both of you are part of organizations that are very special. Because until I met Dallas and you, and I'll try to do this without getting choked up, not knowing what you guys go through, I tell Dallas all the time, it was easy for me as a Navy guy. I was on submarines. We disappeared. We shot cruise missiles. And it was like, we still disappeared. But you guys being in the battle every day, it's not a video game. You're not playing Call of Duty. You're not getting back up like, oh, let me just reboot and go. It's a lifelong process that you guys are dealing with, and I think it's special what you guys do.
Yeah. I appreciate you, brother.
Yep. I think getting these guys out here, and the biggest thing is just whenever they get out and they realize that they're not alone. They got somebody there that's experienced same things, or somebody cares enough to take them out and hear their story. And man, that's all it takes to change some lives every now and then.
That last trip we went on, man, I sat in a deer blind with a guy, and he told me in depth about how he was trying, or how he had overcome addiction to painkillers from the VA. And it brought me to tears right there in the stand. And he's like, man, when I came back, they handed me a Ziploc bag full of pills, and it's what I took, and the person I became.
And once you get on it, it's like, yep.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't think I was ever going to come back from that. But again, man, companies like you allow us to do events like that, and they change lives. Sure, going to get a cool deer or a cool turkey, but that's not what we're out there for.
Nah, it's the bigger.
That's cool. Don't get me wrong, but it's the real dividends are made when these guys open up because they trust you.
I mean, we've talked about it. Matter of fact, we were talking about it, this morning about doing events and sponsoring. And it's like, a lot of the things that you guys have is charitable donations and stuff. It's like you can get a house in Belize, and it's like, you could just go and take a group of guys. It's like, you know what, we're just going to go, and we're going to go just sit and watch the sunset every day. We'll go fishing and go just do whatever.
That's it, man.
But it's, I think for people to understand what guys go through. I have a family member who, part of my wife's family, who deals with these demons, and it's like you don't appreciate it until you're involved in it. And as a owner of a business, there's a lot of times Dallas calls me, is like, hey, look, I got to handle something, and it's like, take care of it. That is more important than 8 o'clock. And it's like, that is to me where as a human, and as a veteran, I think that's what's important, because it's like, oh, sorry, I can't talk to you, I gotta go to the office. It's like, no, the priority is taking care of your brothers and sisters, and making sure that they're taken care of. So
absolutely,
anything that we can ever do to help support you guys, we're there for it.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that so very much.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Again, we appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to this. What we're actually going to do is I'm probably going to chop this up into different segments and put it out there, because I think the message is important. It's important to not be missed. And so there's a lot of good things that Gary and Dallas have brought up. And so we're going to constantly share that with you. So if you listen to the entire show, we're grateful. But we always welcome your feedback, as always, at Mike at Deepwater Subsea and Dallas at Deepwater Subsea. And for Gary, the Oath Think team, guys all over the world, we're grateful for what you guys do.
Thank you so much. Can't do it without you guys, man.
Thanks, Gary.